Get the recording started because I promised to send out recording and slides afterwards. Alrighty, let's do this thing. All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. We'd like to welcome you to our webinar. My name is Natalie Henley. I am the CEO of Volume 9. We are a digital marketing agency based in Denver, Colorado. But the star of today's show is not me. It is our director, Martin DeFrance. Martin has a ton of digital marketing experience across SEO, pay-per-click. He started up and ran his own business for a while. Now he consults with a lot of our bigger accounts. And one of the things that we have been consulting on a whole heck of a lot lately is artificial intelligence. So Martin kind of wanted to put together a little bit about how we're helping clients write really great content in artificial intelligence. So I'd like to start things off. Thank you everybody for joining our webinar. I want to just, first of all, thank you for some of you. I recognize some of your names. If you've been to one of our webinars before, welcome back. We're thrilled to have you. It's been a little while since we've done these. We're really excited to kind of get these back up and going. If you're not used to us, we like to keep things a little light, a little fun. Our goal here is that you guys walk away with at least one thing you can write down in a notebook that's helpful. But even better if you can walk away with your entire notebook filled up. Throughout the webinar today, we're absolutely going to have some slides. There is both a chat and a Q&A feature. I'm going to be taking a look at those. If you have questions throughout, feel free to ping me or send them through. We're going to have some time reserved at the end to answer questions. So please send them whenever, but know that we will have time reserved at the end to try and get some questions. Also, I would like to announce that this is Martin's first webinar. So throughout the day, if you've got encouragement or heckling, one or the other, feel free to send those through because those are always fun. We're going to get the recording going here. And yes, I just saw a question from John. Yes, John, absolutely. We will be, as long as the recording works, which 9 times out of 10 for Zoom recordings it does, we will send both the recording and the slides out after the webinar. And then also there is going to be a template guide that kind of goes along with the process Martin's walking through today. So we'll give access to that as well. So lots of great stuff coming out. As long as you're registered for the Zoom webinar, you'll get those in a follow-up email. And again, please use the Q&A or the chat to give us feedback or ask questions. With that, I'm going to open it up to a quick question and then I'm going to hand it over to Martin. But I know that a lot of you are based here in Denver, but I think we've got some people here who are not Denver based. Oh, someone's showing the chat's disabled. Huh. Okay, hold on. In the meantime, I'll try to fix that. Let's see, is this working now? Okay. Cheryl just noted, okay, a couple of people are noticing the chat disabled. Did that work? Can you guys answer that, or is it still disabled? Otherwise, we might just have to use the Q&A. And in the meantime, I will keep working to see if I can fix the settings. Sorry, everyone, it's been a minute since I ran a webinar, so getting all the kinks worked out. And yes, everybody is auto muted, so you will want to use either the chat feature if that actually is working, or use the Q&A to submit questions or give comments. We can use that as a chat as well. So for now, it looks like Q&A is the main thing working. So use the Q&A, and we will we'll keep monitoring that. And then in the meantime, I'm really curious, where is everybody located? And feel free to send me a note in the Q&A. So let's just use Q&A, and we're just really curious, where in the world are you? Is everybody here in Colorado? I know our meetup that we ran has a lot of people attending, but I'm just curious, where's everybody coming in from? So I'm going to read some out. Las Vegas, all right. Florida.
Yeah.
Parker, yay, local. Longmont, Colorado. Dallas, Texas, all right. Salt Lake City. Dallas. Boulder, and you're welcome, Stephanie. Oh, right, we got someone from England. All right, took this webinar global. Boulder, awesome, welcome. Oh, Nancy, Highlands Ranch, me too. Tuscan, Arizona. Oh, we got someone in Italy. All right. Charleston. Oh my gosh, I love Charleston. Arvada, Southwest Missouri. People from Denver, Alabama, more Colorado. Oh, we got someone from Colombia. Look at that. We got 3 countries so far. That's so exciting. Denver. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you guys. We're so excited to have you here. Throughout the day or throughout the webinar, feel free to keep sending in chats and comments and that here. I'm going to monitor that stuff and moderate this for Martin. But with that, man, that's a lot of tee up, and we got to get this show on the road. So I'm going to hand the ball over to Martin here. Sorry if I give any more sports analogies. So for those of you that know me, my sports analogies are only going to get worse from here. But I'm going to hand it over to Martin to dig in and start walking us through how to write great, not just write content with ChatGPT. I think we all figured out that ChatGPT can vomit comment at us, but actually how to use AI to write great content. So with that, Martin, take her away.
All right. Thank you, Natalie. I appreciate the introduction. So as some of you may know, way back in the Stone Age, 2022, most of us actually had to write content word by word. And that has now been changing with the sort of advent of ChatGPT, conversational AI, all of that. And so that's what we're here to talk about, is how to actually get great stuff out of AI. And I primarily use ChatGPT, so that's what this webinar is going to focus on. Really, these are principles that are applicable to a lot of AI platforms, but again, this is relatively catered for ChatGPT. So it's no secret that this has been making waves in a ton of industries. The most notable being our field in marketing, specifically content marketing. So let's just jump in and take a look. I wanted to just start by setting the stage, talking about some of the advantages and just laying some groundwork before we actually get into the 8-step V9 process that we have towards the end of the slide deck. And then also one note is sometimes I can be a little quirky, so I went ahead and just generated all the images used in the deck in DALL-E for fun. And so if you're interested in seeing what prompts were used to generate these images that hopefully somewhat relate to what I'm talking about, they're right under the image. So when we're talking about the AI advantage, what we're really looking at is speeding up our process, increasing content output, saving costs. Like really, you can do more with less, essentially, is what we're talking about. Helps push thoughts outside of the box. I frequently use ChatGPT just as like a brainstorming buddy, where I just keep on asking it questions. It feeds me something back, makes me think of something different. Then I put that in. It's just, you can kind of get a snowball going with ideas. One other thing that I found extremely valuable, especially because I work in an agency and I work with all sorts of clients, from tech to natural CPG to the outdoor industry, B2B. I mean, you name it, we're working in it. Really, what's super helpful is just enhancing technical knowledge and quickly. That to me has been invaluable, especially with some of my clients that are like in computing and digital security. Really helps you like level up your expertise. Some other things, that I've really found valuable is just keeping tone and voice consistent. It makes it consistent across agencies, in-house marketers, really freelancers, who's ever working on producing content for that client. It can really just tie everything together and keep a common tone and voice. And then I'd say the absolute biggest thing for me is that it just frees up time. While we're increasing output, speeding things up, saving costs, it's also just freeing up time. And, as marketing becomes more demanding every year, there's more and more things to know and to look at. Time is a really valuable resource. And so I love taking advantage of any tool, any method that just helps me get a little bit of time back in my day. And that's what AI has been for me. So that's sort of what we're talking about, like when we're thinking of benefits of AI. What we aren't talking about is AI is a replacement for humans. Like Natalie already said, it's not really a copy and paste tool. You don't just say, hey, write me this blog about this topic and make it 700 words, and then you copy it and post it. That's going to be pretty detrimental in multiple ways. Not only from an SEO standpoint, but just from a user standpoint, and generating trust and working on your brand reputation. You don't want to just put out low quality content that AI spits back at you, especially if it isn't fact checked, which it is not going to be the first time we say this in this call. Is always fact check what AI tells you. It's great to get good ideas, but when it comes to the final piece of content, it really should be reviewed.
Can I add a funny story there real quick?
Yes, I'd love that.
I asked ChatGPT to write a bio for me, and man, I sounded so cool when it was done. I mean, none of it was true, but I mean, it was pretty neat.
PhD at Harvard, professional.
Yeah, apparently I'm on like
player.
The board of the American Marketing Association. I've keynoted some really big like conferences. It was super cool. I was like, man, I wish, even if half of this was true. I mean, it sounds great, but completely, like totally made up. There's nowhere even that associates my name with the American Marketing Association. I don't think I'm even a member of that, let alone a board member. But yeah, always fact check.
That's hilarious. Sometimes I feel like ChatGPT just wants to be your friend and tell you nice stuff. Maybe not totally true. But really, I'd say the take home from this slide is that AI will not replace content marketers. Just in my point of view, honest point of view, content marketers using AI will replace other content marketers. This is probably going to be a pretty critical piece of everyone's process moving forward. And so it's good that we're jumping on a call and talking about this, and everybody's sharing knowledge and just figuring out how to support each other and enhancing our workflows and enhancing just everything else, like our job, our outputs, like our quality of work. So with that being said, there's another thing that has just had a lot of talk recently when we're looking at AI. And that is what Google thinks of AI generated content. Good news is Google says it's okay, but there's a caveat. And so what I'll just go over really quick is something Google released on February 8th on their Google Search Central, sort of stating their official stance on AI. And direct quote from the article and on one of the headers is, rewarding high quality content, however it's produced. They are happy to help you rank. They don't care if it's AI content, as long as it's high quality. And so what they're saying is that regardless of who produces it, they still revert back to more of their long-standing principles of content, which is make it original, make it high quality, and work towards the EEAT algorithm, formerly known as EAT or EAT, which is showing expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness. And to note this, they will absolutely punish you and derank you if you just start shelling out low quality content. That's a big no-no. That's always been. And I have a feeling that in the back end, Google is working furiously to pick up on AI content and to just really, really enhance their algorithms and their filters to make sure that only high quality content is making it through, because we're seeing just incredibly increased output in marketing content. All right. So looking just at general tasks that we found great for using AI for, this is just kind of like my top 10 list. It can be used for a heck of a lot of stuff, but just to run down the list super quick. Content strategies and briefs are great, even outlines. You'll see we're about to create a AI-driven outline later in the deck. Maintaining brand tone and voice, we talked about that. You can really like set ChatGPT up and prime it to write in your voice before you even ever ask it to do anything. Repurposing content at scale. This is great if you write sort of like a cornerstone blog piece that is really lengthy and you want to drive a lot of traffic through it, through all your channels, like social and email. You can tell it to repurpose this for email or for social, or yeah, just for your mailers if you mail stuff out. That's great. Generating and editing assets. As you can see, we have generated some great photography and great imagery for this deck. Semantic optimization, which we'll talk a little bit more about because that's really important when it comes to SEO. Rewriting for different personas. Doing topic brainstorms. Again, ChatGPT is my brainstorming buddy. I love it for this task. Doing research, again, with the caveat of if you're doing research with this, back check it with a reliable source, or use Bard, who will cite everything that it spits back out at you, and you can actually go to a web page, read it, make sure that it's showing you an accurate representation of the information. Using it to help you get some eye-catching titles and subject lines, get those click-through rates up. Let it spit some ideas out for you and just help you wordsmith something that'll really get those clicks coming in. And then writing and editing for all mediums. And that's honestly what we're here to do today. So with that being said, how do you write kick-ass AI content? Let's start to jump into it. And to help you out, of course, we have a section on our website chock full of SEO templates, content marketing templates, social media templates, audits, all of that. But really what you're going to be looking for if you're on this webinar is our ChatGPT prompt guide, which is what we will be walking through here. And yeah, feel free to just peruse the site for some other templates. A lot of these are things that I use in my day-to-day with accounts. So they really help give you a leg up, and they're really comprehensive and high quality. So feel free to just jump on our website when this is over. And I'm sure Natalie will be emailing out a link too, right?
I will. So I'll email out a link afterwards. In typical fashion of, if you know me, I procrastinated to doing this morning. We're having a little bit of issues in the getting our website updated this morning. So our developer's on it. But this template is not on the website yet, but you can absolutely go here, submit your information, and you will get the rest of our templates. I will, to everybody who's registered for this webinar, I will send out a copy of this template, specifically the ChatGPT prompt guide for content, because we have written out in a doc step-by-step what Martin is about to walk you through of how to do this. I will make sure everybody gets a copy of that doc in the follow-up email. Sorry about that. I really should have put this on the website last night. And then if you're watching this webinar recording later, it should be available on the website. So you can go to /templates, it's going to ask for your name and email. It's going to redirect you to a big old page of templates. So, and someone asked me to paste the template link. I will absolutely do that. And then on top of it, it's our website /templates. And I will include that link in the follow-up email, as well as a link to the prompt guide. And I will put it in the Q&A here now. And sorry, again, it's not on the site quite yet. My bad.
All good. Thank you, Natalie. So when it comes to AI and content production, good news, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just taking a quick look at our traditional approach to producing content, we generally go through 3 stages, and these stages are similar with just the steps mixed up a little bit when we're looking at producing AI content. First, we sort of start in the ideation phase of doing general sort of topic research, category research, whether we're writing about fly fishing or natural laundry detergent or 5G and edge computing. You just kind of want to get your head in that space, see what people are talking about. Moving into more specifics of a topic brainstorm where we're just brain dumping topics and seeing what sticks, throwing things against the wall. And then finally, just validating our topics with keyword research and making sure people are actually looking for what we're writing about, at least at some level. Not all blogs are targeting a keyword that has 30,000 searches a month, and that's probably not what you want to be targeting. You want to get a little bit more long tail than that. So that generally brings us through the first stage into the second stage, which is the creation stage, where we produce an outline. Maybe that gets sent to the client, or it goes straight to a writer, which will then be turned into a first draft, and then loaded into a tool like ClearScope for semantic optimization, which is essentially, for those of you who have less SEO knowledge, is when you have a tool, crawl the web, analyze top search results, and then pull out terms that are frequently associated with your search query. It's just a great way to get an idea of how Google thinks of this topic or this term, and what other things does it associate with it that you're going to want to include in your piece. And then lastly, there's the finalization process. And while there's only 2 steps, sometimes this can be the biggest pain in the butt, because there can be a ton of back and forth between us and the client, and then all the nitty gritty details of bringing it together and doing all the nuts and bolts of writing your meta description, your title tags, and making sure your URL is nice and concise and SEO friendly, and getting all your images together, etc. That's the traditional approach. And so how does AI fit in? Well, good news. It actually can help you with every single step of the process. We've reordered it just a tad, just to make it a little more streamlined. But yeah, I mean, AI can be your buddy in general research, in topic brainstorming, even in keyword research. It can help you seed those ideas to then put into SEMrush, Google Keyword Planner, whatever you're using to sort of further your research down the line. It can definitely create content outlines for you. Of course, I'm sure all of you have already done outlines and blogs with it. It can even help with semantic optimization, both in helping you identify terms to include in your content, and also in optimizing your content with a terms list. That's something I do a little less, but I'll talk about that in a couple slides. And then lastly, it can help you process your edits. It can help you write your metadata. So just, use it wisely, take advantage of the features that are there, and yeah, keep testing it. And so, okay, we get it. AI is great. It can help us out. Now, show us how you use it. Cool. Well, I'm about to take you through our 8-step process, and in some of the slides, I've actually included the prompts that we use, just to give you a taste. But then in other slides, I had to leave them out because some of our prompts can be a bit lengthy and they're set up to be more of a copy and paste where you just insert your terms or requests or small details. So let's take a look at step one here. Step one is identifying key background details. This is priming ChatGPT for what you want it to do and sort of how you want to do it. So let's just take a look at this prompt in a little bit more detail. Prompt one is, I'd like to give you some background information before you start providing outputs. To start, you are this job position who is writing for this person for the purpose of this. That has been one of the most impactful things that we've seen in shaping our content, because ChatGPT is able to be someone else and assume a different identity. And not just be ChatGPT. It can be your expert fly fisher or your chemist that is making laundry detergent, natural laundry detergent. And if you haven't picked up, these are like clients that I'm alluding to right now, just because that's top of mind. Moving down, the writing style should be in this style. Here's a sample. Samples are really great because ChatGPT can analyze things with a lot more depth than we can. So actually providing it a real life example is pretty powerful. And then also words we never say is really important, especially if there's just legality reasons for not including certain phrases or like strong brand positioning reasons for not including certain phrases or words. And so this will set the stage. And one small thing to note that I've seen a lot of people not take advantage of is please don't respond yet. You can do what I call query stacking, in the sense of just putting in individual inputs without asking it to respond, and just setting the stage for your conversation with ChatGPT that is going to produce your piece of content. Okay, great. So now it's time to move into step two, which is really the first step of production. And that's topic and title identification. So first we say, hey, we want to write about this thing. So give me 10 blog topics that X website covers that our website should as well. And yes, there is a caveat of ChatGPT is not been updated since 2021, but really we found this at least gives you a great place to start from. And more plugins are coming out every day that is allowing ChatGPT to access the web and to crawl websites. I haven't had much luck telling it to crawl individual websites. However, I use a plugin that does let it jump on Google, type in a search query, analyze the results, and spit back some stuff at me. So talk a little bit about that more in the step 3 or 4. So then now that we have it primed with that, say, hey, additionally, what are 10 blog topics that we should cover that are a little more creative? And then finally, what are 10 ideas that are absolute clickbait? And this should get us a pretty comprehensive list and a foundation to start pulling from. Again, I never really copied and pasted titles. I find that it'll get it 80% of the way there, and my creativity will pull out that other 20% to make it an actual spectacular title and topic. But then once you hone in on what you want and add your own little flavor to it, plug in a second prompt. Please provide me 10 additional options for this title to make it really engaging and appealing to click on and to read. Again, at this point, you're looking at 30 topics and then 10 ideas around the one topic that you're leaning towards for titles. This should be a really great foundation, and it really will drive just the rest of the content generation. So then we go into step 3. And I'm sure there might be a few comments around this because it is around the SEO keyword research side. And this is sometimes where I've seen ChatGPT make up the most stuff, where you're like, hey, what are high ranking keywords for X, Y, and Z? And they're like, well, this keyword has 20,000 searches a month. And you're like, well, how do you know that? And they're like, I'm ChatGPT. I'm not connected to keyword research. This is not something I know. Take it with a grain of salt. It's great to get some really good ideas and then to bring that into your keyword tool. So taking a look at just our first prompt here, we'd like to write a blog about insert category area. Oh, sorry. You know what? I didn't copy that the keyword prompt for that. So anyway, basically you ask ChatGPT, what are popular keywords that rank for this topic? It's a really short and concise prompt that you can find on our template. It's about 1 sentence, and you can see, please provide 3 keyword options for this topic to optimize our blog for, are you washing your clothes in chemical soup? That's what I chose for our fun blog that we're working towards. So then step 4 is to establish topical relevance and make your outline. This is where we bring in the sort of semantic optimization piece, Google's EAT algorithm. One really popular thing is just going through the people also ask section on Google. So we like to ask it to do that every time. So looking at this prompt based on this keyword, insert your winning keyword here. Please provide the following information. What are some of the top terms that websites use? What are questions that we should be answering about this to better optimize for EAT? What are in the people also ask section? And then what are 5 things that we should include to ensure this page is content rich, informative, and high quality? Really just trying to make it think and push it outside of the box a bit more than saying, hey, write a blog about this that's comprehensive. Once you have that, you're ready to request that it make your outline. So just put in, hey, based on all of this, please develop an outline and identify which questions you might need me to answer to successfully be able to write this content. Awesome. We have one last thing to do before we actually write the blog and produce the blog. So step 5 is just adding your thought leadership. No prompt here. The goal is just to really go through everything, use your knowledge, use your background research that you provided, just to fact check everything, add in anything else that you think is missing, even send it over to the company that you're writing for and getting one of their employees that is more of a domain expert to take a look and to add in some bullet points that we might be missing here. And again, Bard's pretty good for research as well. So just making that other point. And last point, definitely fact check it. Got to fact check your AI. And this sets the stage for us finally being able to develop content. So let's move over to step 6 here. And again, I could not write out all of this on here because it is a long prompt. I mean, it's hefty. So I could like sit here and put you to sleep by like reading the prompts word for word on the content development, but we'll just go over some of the highlights here. So prompt 1 is probably the longest, and it asks for 4 parts. And this is gonna help ChatGPT sound like a human. The first one is, and it's a bit of a tongue twister, so I'll try to struggle through it for a second, but I'm gonna move on. So first one starts off with, when it comes to writing content, 2 factors are critical: perplexity and burstiness. Of course, perplexity measures the complexity of each sentence. Burstiness kind of measures just the length and how punchy sentences can be. Humans tend to mix these up pretty well. AI will generally stick with one type and roll through it. So we want to prepare ChatGPT to write like a human and use perplexity and burstiness. Second part of this prompt is to get rid of all your unclear antecedents. ChatGPT loves to just say this. And then when you stick it in Grammarly, Grammarly loves to just get mad at you about that. So go ahead, take care of it ahead of time, tell it not to use unclear antecedents. And then point 3 of the first prompt is to please avoid being corny. I wrote a blog for some fly fishers or some anglers, and I got a response. I was like, hey, write it as like a expert angler writing to someone just starting off. And it was like, hello, fellow anglers. And it's just like, no, that's not how we write a blog. Okay, just get rid of the corn. You can keep it fun, but yeah, we don't need any of this corniness. It really helps in the long run when you put that in there. And then the fourth one is just making sure your content comes out structured. ChatGPT loves to give you just a wall of text. Sometimes it's like, looks like an eloquently written 4-page letter. We wanted to format it for the web by just adding in headers, making paragraphs a bit shorter, making sections shorter and punchier. So then that's the sort of fourth element of the first prompt. And then you have to ask it, do you understand? And it will literally reiterate what you said in just concise bullet points, indicating that it does understand and it's ready to move on to the second prompt, which is just inputting your outline. Basically, you just say, here's my outline and don't respond yet. Perfect. Ready to move on to the third prompt, which is based on all revised outlines and writing guidelines. Please write the introduction to this blog post in the first 2 paragraphs. Now, if you're really just trying to bust through it and you don't want to make it the best blog post ever, you can ask for it to just write the whole thing at this point. But we found that this stage is what's helped us really boost the quality of our content and has helped differentiate some of our AI generated blogs from just some of the other, I don't want to say garbage out there, but like, you know, some of the other lower quality stuff. If you just ask it to write a little bit and then analyze it, give it feedback on that, ask it to write it again. Generally, you can get it exactly where you want it and what you want the piece to sound like. And then you can start asking it to write the next section, which you might want to rein in a little bit, and then ask it just to write the whole thing after that. But I've really found that it's great to just take it step by step. And then, you know, if you put the outline in and you ask it to write the blog and it returns back something garbage, you're looking at a lot more work and editing it and trying to give it feedback than just getting a small sample and saying, hey, no, that's not right. Correct it to look like this or to sound like this. Okay, let's try again. It's just easier to take baby steps with this and just to be a little careful with how things are coming out.
And just,
from there,
just hopping in with a quick reminder, because we've had a couple questions. Absolutely, we are going to be sending out the prompt guide. So this Write Like a Human, where Martin read through words like unclear antecedent and burstiness and perplexity. You are going to get a copy of that exact prompt and all of these different prompts and these detailed guides in a doc where you can just copy and paste or make a copy of the doc and edit it a little bit if you want to even change it further. That's going to be available later today on our site at v9digital.com/templates. But as long as you're registered for this webinar, we'll also send it in a follow-up email. So you'll be able to get the exact language that Martin's referring to here.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, you won't have to go to liberal arts school. You can just go to our website. Cool. Moving on to step 7. All right, AI is mostly done now. I'm sorry. It's time to use your brain again. And by using your brain, I mean, put it in Grammarly. No, first, definitely jump in, check it out, add internal links where they're relevant. I've seen some people write about using ChatGPT to help with internal links. I haven't found much success with it. Generally, I know the brand better. I know my clients' websites like the back of my hand, and I know where things fit and where we want to send people. So yeah, get those links in there. Modify anything that's not quite right or that needs a little bit more personality, a little bit more flair to make an Office Space reference. And then this is really a great time to run your draft through a semantic tool like ClearScope. At this point, like, you could ask AI to help insert terms and optimize for the terms that are left out, but I've just been doing ClearScope page reviews for forever, and I found that it's just quick and easy for me to just get it done. When we're talking about AI making things up, it will stretch. If you tell it to include this list of terms in this post, I've really seen it start to stretch and make things up. And I've had clients be like, hey, this piece of content is great, but this sentence is totally wrong. So yeah, I find it's just better to do it myself. And then, yes, of course, the last step is run it through Grammarly Pro. Correct your errors. Sometimes ChatGPT will use things like passive voice or, again, unclear antecedents, which hopefully we've already gotten rid of. So it's just good to get that second level of analysis there. And lastly, it's time to put a bow on it. Time for our finalization step. And again, this is getting into the ultra fun, nitty gritty details of getting a blog live and doing it right. Adding a hero image and adding in supplementary imagery to just break up content and make it engaging. And then one thing that is definitely optional, but what we love to include whenever possible, is getting some video in there. Video search is a real thing. YouTube is the second most popular search engine. And on top of that, video schema helps blogs rank higher and for rich results. So if there's some video opportunity with this and you can shoot it really quick, or you can have your client shoot it really quick, absolutely go for it. It's going to help boost your content. We don't want to rely on AI alone to help us rank and drive traffic to our site. And then, yeah, ensure the post is optimized, title tag, meta description, alt text. We all love alt text. So much fun. Adding in internal and external links, and then putting in an SEO friendly URL structure. And lastly, something that I actually do use ChatGPT to help with is just adding in some catchy calls to action. And then, hey, you've got a great piece of content that's ready to post that'll have a really high chance of success. And that's our 8-step process, excuse me. So again, just to reiterate, as a gift for you, this prompt guide will be available on our website shortly after the webinar. It will get emailed out, and you'll also have this recording. And so now it is time, with just the last 10 minutes that we have left, to move into some questions.
And just a quick heads up, the template is now on our site. So if you go to that page and put in your email address, the very first template linked on the page it redirects you to is this prompt guide and instructions for writing an awesome piece of content, but we will also send it out in a link after the call. All right, we have tons of Q&A, so we're going to try and get to what we can. So feel free to start sending them through. And then Martin, I'm going to kind of take it from the top as people send in more questions here of some of the questions we've got already. So taking us kind of back to the beginning of the webinar, we kind of set the stage with this is all about writing high quality content. Can you speak a little more to when we say high quality versus low quality content and what kind of Google cares about and the criteria and how they're judging it? Can you speak a little bit more to kind of the difference between low quality and high quality content?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a great thing to fall back to when we're talking about this is the experience, expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. If you're not familiar with the EEAT algorithm, formerly known as the EAT algorithm, definitely go take a look at it. This is going to give you just all the background that you need to know, and it's a huge rabbit hole. But that is straight up Google's definition of high quality content. And you know, some of it true, it doesn't necessarily relate to the specific content itself of that algorithm, but there's a lot of golden nuggets in there. So I would just encourage you to do a quick Google search of the EEAT algorithm and just pop in and read an article about how you can build trustworthiness, how you can build authority by even having someone as like, if you're ghostwriting, having like a really relevant author publish it. For example, we've got a medical testing lab as a client, and we run everything through a doctor, and then when he gives us the thumbs up, we use him as the author. So it helps with that expertise, that authority, and then also just making sure like your content isn't saying something that's already been said a million times before, because then Google's just gonna realize you're putting up content for the sake of manipulating search rankings. They're gonna see it as low quality because it's not really driving any sort of value, and that's just not gonna rank. So roundabout answer.
No, I think that's great. And then maybe as a follow-up too, because I think that, you know, part of the challenge here is that it's easy to get low quality content out of ChatGPT. Could you maybe kind of walk through some just like bullet points of stuff like I think part of this process is really designed to avoid some of the big pitfalls people are hitting when they're using ChatGPT to generate content that's creating low quality content. What are some things to just be looking out for when you're thinking low quality ChatGPT vomited content at you? What are some things that would, if you had a client who sent a piece of content like that to you, that you would be concerned that that would be hitting low quality content because it just kind of came from ChatGPT without going through a process like this?
You know, one thing that it's less about the specific words on the page and more about how they're put together is what we talked about when we get into how humans write differently than AI. Like that's just a first indicator, because it's just not like things that come straight out of ChatGPT just do not read well to people, and they just sound obviously fake. Like it's not hard to pick up when something is garbage. Yeah, I mean, if it sounds like a robot wrote it, a robot wrote it. Even if you have a highly technical engineer that is taking a stab at writing content, it's going to sound a lot better than AI does. And then also another thing is just like the originality aspect. If you don't push ChatGPT to think outside of the box, it is going to give you the top level answer for your content. And yeah, that's something that's already been written about a million times, is not going to provide value to your customer or your user. So that's just another great thing to always think about, is just like, hey, has this been written 5 million times before? So maybe take a look at like comparing your piece of AI generated content to the top 5 to 10 posts that are ranking for it on Google and seeing if there's any unique elements that are included in yours or not.
Perfect. Thank you, Martin. All right, let's see if we can get a couple more questions in here. So someone asked about how to set up ChatGPT to write in your tone of voice. Maybe we can come back and talk to that one more, but I think that was before we kind of talked through some of those prompts. But we can come back to that if we need to. This is a fun question. Someone wanted to know what AI tool you use to generate the images.
Oh, yeah. It's another open AI tool called Dolly. And I will be brutally honest with y'all. While I've used conversational AI, ChatGPT, to generate a lot of written content, I hadn't played much with image generation until making this deck. And I was like, hey, it'd be kind of cool if, I just only used AI images. And man, did I go down a rabbit hole. It is really, really fun. And if you go to OpenAI's site, log in, it'll give you 3 different options. One's ChatGPT, one's Dolly, and one's their API. Click on Dolly, and on the Dolly homepage, you can just scroll through endless AI generated images, and it'll show the associated prompt. And you can just go crazy with it. I mean, you can, like, I asked for an image in the style of like the Peanuts cartoon in here. I asked for an image in the style of like classicism painting. It's pretty fantastic and pretty fun. And it's like $15 to get a couple hundred credits.
Nice. All right, let's see, maybe we can do 2 more questions and then I think we'll be right at time. There's a question about the prompts and how some of them had please don't respond yet at the end and some didn't. Can you talk to a little bit about what that is and why that's in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this goes back to my idea of query stacking, where really you're just priming ChatGPT to give you the output that you want. And after certain queries, you don't necessarily need an output, but it can get like really messy if you just put everything into one query and make it really, really long and stick it in there. It can be a little bit confusing. So, we talked about writing articles sort of in sizes to get started. We've also found that it's great to break prompts up into bite sizes. So saying, hey, please don't respond yet, I just want you to know this, is a great way to just sort of shape your conversation with ChatGPT. Because if you've been in the platform, you know that up in the top left-hand corner, you can just start new chats. And really what that's geared to do is like, hey, we're starting this one chat, and ChatGPT is going to keep in mind every message that has gone back and forth in this whole chat, and it's going to start to slowly change its answers versus you just jumping in, starting a new chat and saying, write this blog.
Awesome. And then, all right, so we got a few more questions, but we're kind of coming up on time. So let's do one more question. So Martin, someone's asking a little bit about, you were talking about burstiness and perplexity. What the heck are those things? Why are we talking about that? What is that? Can you spend a little more time on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's just go back to the prompt writing guide here. I mean, essentially, it's just to like help humanize your content and to not sound like an AI is just droning on forever and forever with just all these sentences that sound the same. As humans, we're a little bit sporadic and we mix things up, and we get tired of the same thing if it goes on too long. So we just like, writing is something that has been being shaped for thousands and thousands of years. And we want to sort of stand true to those principles of like what has been discovered to engage people. So that's what we mean by that. And if we want to get into specific definitions, perplexity measures the complexity of each sentence. Burstiness means that some sentences are longer, and complex, while some sentences are shorter and simpler. Really, it's just like mixing up your cadence, you know, and keeping things fresh and interesting.
Awesome. Okay, and we're pretty much at time. We've still got questions flowing in. I will absolutely say that if you have additional questions, feel free to send that or respond to the email that we send out after this. We're happy to keep talking ChatGPT and AI, but we're right at the top of the hour, bottom of the hour, however you say that. But thank you guys so much for coming. All these awesome questions. Just a reminder, we are going to send out slides, the recording, how to get this awesome prompt guide. And then we'll send out to if you want to reach out to us and ask us follow-up questions, we'll make ourselves pretty available to answer those. Thank you guys so much for coming and spending a little time this Friday morning with us. We'll get all this stuff sent out. And thank you so much, Martin, for spending so much time walking us through everything. This was great.
Yeah, and I know a bunch of y'all said that you're in Denver and Boulder. I'm in Boulder. Easy drive to Denver. If you ever want to sit down and have coffee and talk about this, feel free to shoot us an email. My email is martin@v9digital.com. And it's basically, if you want to hit any of us up, it's just our first name at v9digital.com.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and have a great weekend.
Yeah, bye.